Family, I didn't want to say anything about this issue we are about to get into because it was an ongoing national debate with so many holes covering up lies and mass confusion about this particular story. So a 19-year-old Tsonga boy from Limpopo Province in Nhlamulo Sambo who was residing in Mossel Bay, Cape Town, was brutally murdered. The exact circumstances surrounding his death are disputed, centering around whether it was an anti-immigrant hate crime or a burglary gone wrong. The South African Police Service were called to the New Rest informal settlement at about 3 a.m. on Sunday, where the body of a 19-year-old South African man in Nhlamulo Sambo was found outside a shag with multiple stab wounds. Paramedics pronounced him dead at the scene. There is confusion over whether Sambo was the mistaken victim of a xenophobic attack or was a criminal whose intended victim got the better of him. According to police, Sambo, along with a 15-year-old friend, had tried to steal from a shack. He was, however, caught by an occupant who stabbed and killed him. Detectives are looking for a known suspect. However, Sambo's family tell a different version of events. Nhlamulo's mother claimed that her son was killed because he spoke Xitsonga, one of South Africa's official language. It seems like Nhlamulo did not have the Nguni accent, and for that he was mistaken to be a foreigner. Check out these two clips where the police claim that this young boy was killed because he was a low-life criminal, and then the other clip, the mother disputing the police's claim, saying her son was murdered for speaking Xitsonga and not having Nguni accent, which is the Zulu and Xhosa accent. Check out both these clips.
18-year-old matter is unrelated to the first one. This one happened between Saturday night and Sunday morning, 3 o'clock in the morning to be exact. These two that were on Friday, between Friday and Saturday morning. So in this 18-year-old, what we now have information is that the deceased and another 15-year-old, they were together. They were found in an empty shack that was the owner or the person in charge of the shack was not there. And then as where they're busy trying to remove some items, then the person in charge or the owner found them inside and accosted them. And then the 15-year-old hid himself under the bed whilst the owner was pursuing the deceased and apparently stabbed him to death. So it is not related to, and they're both South Africans, and the suspect is also South African. They are not related to the Friday, Saturday morning incidents.
So, General, you're saying that this 18-year-old was at a residence that they were not supposed to be? Were they stealing? Can you just take us through?
What we informed was suspecting that they were stealing because they were removing property which is not theirs. And the person in charge or the owner of the accosted, found them inside 2 o'clock in the morning. And then they were, as were trying to pursue the first one, the young one was 15 years old, hid himself under the bed. So he pursued this one, and then this one was stabbed. Now we know who the suspect is.
They killed my child just because it's a Tsonga from Limpopo, is what I can tell you. I'm sure about that because that boy is a tosser, and they didn't kill that boy. That's why I'm sure about that. They kicked the door. I see the mark of maybe size 9 or 10, so a boot. They were sleeping together. Then they took my boy to outside because they never want to do something inside that pose because people will be suspicious about why that boy never been injured. That's why they took my boy out. They never killed my boy far from that area he's sleeping. So as a mother of Nhlamulo, I am very hurt and I'm angry about that wrong statement they give about my son.
Well, I know some of y'all will think the mother is grieving and the last thing she needs is her son's memory to be tainted with this negative narrative that her son was a criminal. So the easiest outlet is to blame the xenophobic, Afrophobic protesters. I mean, that makes sense. It does make sense. But lest we forget that the South African Police Service are owned by the cartels and people who'd love to see this country destabilized. We are supposed to believe that after finding the body, In less than 24 hours, they've included their investigation and found motive behind the death of this young boy. We are supposed to believe that. This is the same police, on average, that takes approximately 10 to 15 years investigating a sexual assault case. And all of a sudden, they've decided to be competent in this particular case? Really? Why? Why are they so dismissive of the mother's outcry? We as Black South Africans have to come to terms with the reality that the police are not in the business of serving the people, but to protect the interest of those that have deep pockets. The cartels, the people that fund riots all over the country, those are protected by the police. Some say it's the Israelis, some say it's the white monopoly corporate that wants to infiltrate the bodega market, break it apart and own it. Hence these xenophobic, Afrophobic attacks. Hence, they are targeting bodega business owners, claiming they steal the locals' job, but in reality, they are doing the dirty work for the white monopoly corporate interests. But either way, the police will always protect the ones with a deeper pocket. I mean, even the KZN Police General once said some police officers, the judiciary system, the politicians serving in parliament, and your favorite influencers are owned by the cartel. Don't believe me? Just watch.
And I can confirm before the South Africans today that the investigation which these members were involved with in Gauteng has unmasked the syndicate. And this syndicate involves, amongst others, politicians who are currently serving in parliament. The law enforcement officers include the members of the South African Police Service, the Metro Police, and correctional services. They include prosecutors in Gauteng province, the judiciary, and all these are controlled by the drug cartel as well as business people in that province of Gauteng. This act, of course, undermines the criminal justice system in this country.
So why should we take the word of the police that this boy was being killed for being a criminal? Why should we believe that? And we are supposed to dismiss the mother's statement about her son being killed for speaking Xitsonga? No. This March and March Afrophobic xenophobic group is very funny. They're very funny because earlier this year, a Zulu man by the name of Mazwi from Vosloorus, Johannesburg, Gauteng, South Africa, was kidnapped by the bodega syndicate. This young man opened a bodega shop in his community, and the Somalis and Ethiopians that have shops in that area were not happy. In fact, they told him to close his shop or face deadly consequences. He didn't listen, and they kidnapped him. He was missing for over a month and a half, if I'm not mistaken. So these March and March protesters tightened the grip on finding him, pressured the police to look for this man, closed down all the bodegas in the area until this young Zulu man was found. Narratives were going around saying the Somalis, Ethiopians, and other African nationals are not only taking our jobs, but they are threatening the development of South Africa. They are mass murdering us for wanting out of poverty. Hence, no bodegas should be owned by anyone except for South Africans. This man's alleged kidnapping had the whole country up in arms. And for a second, we believed that this Afrophobic group had our best interest at heart. Until the victim showed up at a police station looking clean, well-fed, and with a brand new haircut. The kidnappers were both Ethiopian and South African and were part of a syndicate that hijacked building all over Johannesburg. But what's crazy is that no arrests have been made. The story just died down. I mean, it went from the whole country being up in arms every day to the story just fizzling out in the air. The streets are saying the man was not kidnapped. He was living his best life with his new girlfriend. I don't know. That's what the streets are saying. And we are supposed to believe that foreigners kidnapped this man just to justify the attacks of African migrants throughout the country. But we are not supposed to believe that this young boy was killed because he spoke Xitsonga. The police and politicians commenting on these two separate cases are playing with our emotions. They really are. You make, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Family, you make your own conclusion. Please make your own conclusion. This boy is from Limpopo, a region in South Africa that shares its borders with Zimbabwe. He is dark-skinned. He speaks Xitsonga, a language that is unfamiliar to the Zulus and Xhosas in Mossel Bay, Cape Town, where he was currently residing before he was killed. The leader of March and March, JacintaNgobese-zauma, once said, Limpopians are not truly South Africans because of their shared border with Zimbabwe and because they are too dark and look like Halloween monsters to be South African. Hence, all Limpopians should carry their IDs when walking around South Africa. And I truly believe that an organization is led by its leader's belief system. She hates Limpopo people. She hates non-Zulu speaking people. And by the look of things, her protesters feel the same way too. Morema said once they are done with African migrants, Limpopo will be next. South Africans will be next. Limpopos must prepare for the battle of their lifetime, because once they are done with African migrants, the Zulus are coming for them. Are we supposed to believe that that Zulu man who opened a bodega in his community was kidnapped by foreigners? But we are not supposed to believe that the anti-immigrant or anti-African immigrants killed this young man because he spoke Xitsonga. We are not supposed to believe that. No, selective outrage or selective mindset. I don't know how to even label it. We are supposed to believe that the young man was kidnapped by foreigners. The young Zulu man was kidnapped by foreigners. But we are not supposed to believe that this young Xitsonga speaking man was killed because he spoke Xitsonga and not your Zulu and Xhosas. No, man. Jacinta's people are really mad. We are really mad. I mean, if that boy was not killed for speaking Xitsonga, certainly that boy was not kidnapped. I mean, after all, he did show up at a police station with a fresh haircut. With a fresh haircut. Huh? Well fed, looking good. Every day, while we were looking for him, we were advocating for him. The country was up in arms. We were angry at foreigners. We were closing down bodega shops, businesses. Everything was shut down, looking for this boy. And every day we had updates, by the way, from these protesters, from March and March, from Jacinta and friends. We were hearing updates each and every second. And the minute the boy pulled up with a fresh haircut, the story was dead. Cut. No arrests, nothing, no press briefings. Yeah, no, I love how gullible black South Africans are. I love how gullible black, poor South Africans are. Poor black South Africans. I love how gullible you are. I love how any Tom, Dick, and Harry can heighten your emotions just to satisfy their interest, just to reach their goals. Gayton Mackenzie did the same when he was running around during his election campaign before the formation of GNU. He was running around on stage. Abahambe, let the foreigners leave. Riling you up, giving you that je ne sais quoi, that energy, heightening your emotions, taking your gullibility for a trip. The minute he got into government, the minute he became a minister, the minute the minister salary hit his bank account, he went mute. I'm yet to see Gayton Mackenzie campaigning for the removal of illegal African migrants in the country. I'm yet to see him comment. I'm yet to see him say anything. If anything, he blue-ticked y'all. He never kept his promise. He said once he gets into parliament, once he makes it officially in the government, once he's a government official, he will make sure that foreigners leave. And I don't see any foreigners leaving. I've never seen any foreigners leaving since Gayton Mackenzie became part of the GNU and became a minister. So I love how every Tom, Dick, and Harry can ride on your emotions. You'll forever be overlooked. You'll forever be used because you don't think strategically. You don't think. You don't apply your minds. You let your emotions get the better of you. You act before you think. That's why Jacinta might even become president of this country at this point. That's why Phakelo Mthakathi, a known fraudster that was exposed on national television, by the way, can ride on your emotions like this. Yesterday, he was saying that all foreigners must go. Today, he's a brand ambassador for a Somali-Pakistani shop. Everyone is gonna make money out of the gullibility of black people in South Africa. What do you think about this segment? Comment to us in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and share the broadcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss these groundbreaking conversations right here on the African Diaspora News channel.